I believe that all of us have dreamed of finding a treasure at one time or another. That pot of gold at the end of the rainbow guarded by leprechauns. Well, just last week, maybe you heard the story of the news about a person who found a stash of 700 gold coins from the Civil War era in a field in Kentucky, the location of which remains a secret. When you desire to find a treasure, you can't just sit back and wait for it to be dropped into your lap. You have to take the risk of going on a journey, understanding that along the way there will be disappointments. And finding the treasure means that you have to know the value of what you're looking for. And then you must be willing to give up everything to get that treasure. We are here today because we have found our true treasure in God. This is not a treasure that we can seek and find just once, because our relationship with God is wrapped in mystery. There is always something more that we can discover about our identity as children of God and the mission that Christ has given us. When we are in pursuit of this precious treasure, it means that we are actively involved in the journey. This means in finding Christ as our true treasure, we make time for prayer, for study, for reflection, so that we can grow in our appreciation of the value of the treasure we have in Christ, and not be easily sidetracked by earthly treasures that do not last. All too often when life gets tough, we lose our desire to continue the search. Maybe the hard knocks of life or a time of suffering in our life has worn us down and we're just tired of the journey. Maybe a cynical attitude has ended the search. Maybe we become satisfied with the status quo and simply coast along day after day without any desire to deepen our appreciation of the gift of faith. What we recognize is that in order to have the treasure, we must be willing to give up control of certain things. Even our best laid plans, we must learn to trust in God. Why would we do this? Why would we let go of control? I believe it's because each of us have caught glimpses of the kingdom of heaven in your life. You have come to realize that all you currently possess pales in the face of this valuable treasure of God's love in your life and the gift of God's grace. When we hear the call to give up everything in imitation of Christ, then we must turn away from any attitude which says, "Me first." And as a follower of Christ, we can't hold someone in unforgiveness. We must forgive others as Christ forgives us. We hear that call to leave our old self behind, to turn away from the temptations of instant gratification, and to turn to a life of service, pouring out our lives to help others in need. Until we are able to empty our hearts of our own selfish wants and desires, we will not be able to live in union with God. The Eucharist we share today puts us in touch with the greatest treasure of all, the living presence of Jesus Christ in our midst. Here we celebrate our identity as children of God, and we renew our commitment to work with Jesus in building the kingdom of heaven here on earth. But with so many competing voices crying out for our attention, it's easy to become confused as to what is the greatest treasure in life. We can easily be lured into fake or imitation treasures, things that we think will bring us happiness, but in the end fade away. This is where Solomon's prayer in our first reading becomes a good model for us to follow. Solomon could ask for anything that he wanted from God. Treasures like personal wealth, fame, or a long life. But he didn't. He identified the true treasure he desired as an understanding heart, that gift of wisdom, so that he might discern right from wrong as he led God's people. In asking for this particular gift, Solomon was identifying his relationship with God as his true and lasting treasure, for he knew that all wisdom comes from God alone. And so Solomon surrenders control so that he could serve God faithfully and not serve himself. Brothers and sisters, may our prayer today be like Solomon's. Lord, give to your servant an understanding heart, one that can distinguish right from wrong, a heart that recognizes you as my true and lasting treasure.